Hello, Pisces. Something big is shifting this week. Can you feel it? The energy around you isn't just happening to you, it's happening for you. But here's the thing, how you work with it will determine everything. So in today's reading, we're not just pulling cards, we're unpacking, breaking down, rebuilding the energy so you can fully step into your power. If you're ready to stop letting the week's energy control you and start using it to your advantage, then stick with me. This one's gonna be deep. Alright, beautiful Pisces, so I'm going to be using 2 tarot decks, and as you know, during the week I post 2 other videos but with different divination tools. I'm not quite sure what I've decided yet. You're just going to have to come and watch how I go further in depth with the reading of today. So I'm going to start unpacking and strengthening the energy, which is what I call this spread. The unpacking and strengthening the energy spread. So we're going to begin with the energy of the week. So I'm just going to shuffle here. Ooh, already it just started. Look at that. It's the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles has a very special meaning for me. The dominant frequency here is personal alignment, personal balance, figuring out what works for you. This person is, usually this is a card of generosity. I've heard it talk like that, right? But I feel that it's also the card of just trying to figure out what fits. Because sometimes you give a lot, sometimes you give less, sometimes you take a lot, sometimes you take less. It's all kind of a give and take. You see that with the scale here, right? He might give some to one and less to another. It all depends. His reasoning might be that yesterday this person got more and he just wants somebody else to have more. It doesn't really matter. It's a personal decision within the self to balance things out. What feels right? Is it part intuition? Absolutely. It's part grounding. It's part taking care of the earth, because it's very much an earth energy. And that's what you're going to be focusing on this week. Now I'm going to pull some clarifiers with all of the cards. So this is going to be the dominant frequency for you this week, my beautiful Pisces. Look at that. The Revealer. Yeah, again, the card I'm feeling is, yeah, you're going to be shining a lot of clarity on this. This is what I feel. The Revealer, you see both the colors, the white and the darkness, the letting it in to really understanding what makes you tick, what makes you go, how you're going to get there, right? And the Sun, the clarity, showing you exactly what your, where your road is leading you, right? I love this card. I know you guys have heard this one before, but I'm going to say it again. Sometimes we strike up a balance in our life of things that we know, of things that we've been taught, right? You have the Justice card where an apple's an apple on the scale. But somewhere through our lives, as we are living and learning and getting wise, we start wondering if everything that we see, like if our father was, you know, a doctor or a lawyer, and then everybody after them become a doctor and a lawyer, sometimes at one point there's people who are going, well, that's not what I want. It's the balance of things. It's what's expected of me. It's what's always been, right? Apples and apples and oranges and oranges. But my example is always this. If you had 2 bananas in each scale, but you were feeding a mouse and an elephant, you would be feeding them quite differently. It would dictate that each individual or each person or each animal get the same amount, but the size of them dictates something different. So the difference is they're 2 very different animals, and so are you. So at this point in your life, you are deciding what you're going to take, what you're going to let go, what you're going to share. All of that is coming in, and it's coming in super clear, okay? Super clearly. I love this because the revealer, I love the word the revealer for the high priestess because it feels that this is going to be somehow revealed to you. Okay, so that is your energy for the week. We're going to continue on with the block for the week because, of course, through this, sometimes you can just go about and not have a problem. And for those of you who are just going to, you know, do this week without any hindrance or block, that's fantastic. You can look at the next question. It'll be relevant to you. But for those of us who suffer blocks when it comes to them, what could be the block? What could be the big problem? I think that's pretty obvious. Where clarity will lack is the justice. And that's what it's talking about. The justice is apples and apples. Okay? We may live in a world where things are always seen on a very equal, right? An eye for an eye. You know, you grow up, you go to work, you get a job, you live in a house, you have kids. You know, for me, and when I was young, that was the thing. Everybody did it. You get a phone, you get a this, you know, it's like there's certain things. And there was no skewed way of seeing this, right? This was a track and something that you followed implicitly, right? It was like a guidebook of things to do. You know, you get to this age, you do this. You know, you get to this age, even down to, I think us, it's like 18 or 19, the age to drink. You go at 19 and have your first drink. Why do you need to do that? I don't know, a rite of passage. There was always this balance of rite of passage, you know. You meet up with somebody, you marry, you have kids, you buy a house. You know, there was a definite line of things to follow. A societal thing that had been kind of put in place to follow. And everything was equal, okay? Even if the people who were doing it weren't equal, weren't feeling it, didn't want to be part of that, right? Didn't want to be part of that whole cycle of existence. So sometimes, because of the way we've been taught and what's been put in place, okay? The Justice card is the authority that's been put in place, the morals, the ethics of how society is. That can take away from the clarity. That can take away from the clarity. The sun. I would rather if it had been in reverse, but I feel it. I feel that it's everything's sunny. Why don't you want to be like everybody else? And that could be the block as well, right? What's being shown is, you know, a sunny version of being conforming to this. It's very hard sometimes. Why don't you want what everybody else wants? Making you feel maybe like you're, you know, strange or weird. Okay, so let's see here. The card, the wheel, is the clarifier. Yeah, maybe the pressure of like doing, you know, the cycle and shift. It's like just, you know, just do it. Just do it. And what's blocking it just may be hard, right? It may be hard to just roll the dice here. You see the dice at the top? You don't want to get caught up in all this yarn and stuff. And also defending what you want to do. Some people just don't want to. That's the block. I don't want to have to defend what I believe in. I don't want to have to defend everything that I want to do. But sometimes it's worth it. Okay? So I'm going to carry on here. That's your block. So let's look at where this energy resides. Okay? Is it in the mind? The heart? Is it a situation? Is it in a relationship? Okay? Where is this energy anchored? Where is it? Wheel of Fortune. It's coming in again, right? So the Wheel of Fortune card is in the sign of Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is, of course, a fire sign. And where that resides is it's adventure and freedom, right? This is where this energy. You want to be yourself. You want to spin the wheel. You have a desire for change. So this is why this is coming up. You want to change and bloom into the person that you're meant to be, okay? You don't want to get stuck in what was, right? Look at the Judgment card coming in, the clarifiers. It's so wonderful. What is this talking about, okay? Where does it reside? Where does it reside? It resides in the part of you that wants change. You know, when I'm thinking about it too, I feel that it's like in your solar plexus or your sacral chakra. Like, it's the 3 lower one, the base, the one that, you know, fire is like set in, you know, like the fire under your butt. You want to change these things. The Judgment card is about being accountable for the stuff. It's also about reviewing, renewing, changing, releasing the old, awakening. It's about a rite of passage, a transition. And what do you want to do? You want to break with tradition. You want to break with what doesn't fit anymore. Look at this Ten of Swords. Breaking everything down. You want to transform right there. You want to transform. Okay? You want to change things. So this resides in your energetic body as something that you feel propelling forward. I do feel more like sacral solar plexus, and maybe touching a bit of the heart, because your heart's getting involved, right? Your need and your want to do this. So yeah, you really want to move forward. Okay? So where is this energy? How can we work with it directly? I don't know. I think it's fueled by passion and desire. Passion and desire. Fire. Yellows and oranges. That part of you that's inspired to act. So I would really tap into that this week. Okay? So next up is the hidden influences. What's shaping this energy that may not be obvious? Maybe a subconscious belief, a spiritual force, external circumstances. You know, where's the hidden influence here? Shake up. A shake up. Yeah. Maybe also something has happened. Okay? You had like a eureka moment. You looked at something and you thought, oh my God, this is so different. Okay, this is like, wow, what's happening here, right? Yeah, oh, like, look at this, the Hermit. A light in the dark that's shown something. Look at this. This is so gorgeous. Look at that. Okay? It's like, what is this? What is this? I'm being guided. I feel that something may have happened. It doesn't mean that it was something like, look at this, the Crown of Wands. But something has happened to definitely make you decide to move forward, to go after this. I remember, I'll give you one of mine, and it was brought on by my husband years and years and years ago when I decided that we were going to be debt-free. And yes, I decided because, like some of you, there's one person who really is the one who takes care of all the monetary stuff. And, you know, we were doing okay. We were highly in debt, but we knew that. He knew that, I knew that, and we were just kind of moseying along. And I told him, I said, do you ever see yourself to stop working? And he looked at me and he says, with everything that we owe and not really seeing the end of it, I know I'm going to work till I die. And I tell you, at that moment, there was such an emotional response that kind of blew everything up in my energetic body. Just like this tower. And suddenly I started looking for a light in the dark. Okay? And when it did, I found that power, which is a natural born leader. I took the lead in something. So something similar may have happened to you. This influence may be something that came to light for you. And like I said, nobody died around me. It was just a statement that kind of just opened everything up. The doors blew open and I said, this will not do. I will not let this man work himself to death for money that is owed. We can take care of this. We can make it better. And he can have a much brighter future, or at least a mindset of thinking, maybe, maybe I can sit back with a pina colada one day with my feet up and not give a crap. Okay? And that was that. It was an emotional response. So what was it for you? What was it for you that brought this on? This need for finding authenticity, yourself, your balance. Okay? Question yourself this week with that. Okay. So, next up, this one's my favorite. It's really new in the way that it comes in. But what message is waiting for me in the silence? What message is waiting for the readers, Pisces, in this silence? What message is waiting in the silence? What insight is trying to surface when distractions fade? Interesting. Let's take the clarifiers. Of course, I need more than one card for this one. Sure. What are you getting from this card? How's it hitting you intuitively? You see a figure laying down. You know what I think? I think that they're trying to tell you that there's a lot of healing to come in if you just give yourself the time to rest here. Because this is the card of rest for me. You see the swords are here. The problems are all still there. Okay? You're even lying with some of them. Like it's even here. But the hands are together in prayer, in meditation, and taking the time to really listen, to really take a time to slow down the brain. And, I think that happens. The distraction here is that some of this is heart, especially with these two cards together, okay? This bottled up message of the heart, full of, problems and full of problems to solve and conflicts and tension. Sometimes it takes away from what we're trying to see. We're so busy trying to find a solution. We're so busy feeling it in our heart space that we need to free ourselves from this bottle, right? We need to move on. We're looking for freedom, and it gives that feeling of tension, of being stuck. Sometimes all we really need is to free ourselves, is to just take a moment and really a moment of quiet. And that's in the silence, okay? In the silence is that you have to take a moment to rest in the silence. It's so funny because in the silence, this is kind of the card that defines this part of the reading. What is in the silence? What's in the silence is that there's real solutions. If you just take a bit of a moment to breathe, to see what else is out there, to feel with the heart, but not feel trapped by it, to know that there's conflict, and yes, there's problems to solve, but with it comes brainstorming sessions, right? Conflict brings the best out of all of us. I just did a reading like that in Tarot Guide with AI, where this card came out, and it talks about out of these things, out of these conflicts, comes great insight. Out of conflict comes great ideas, right? Necessity is the mother of all invention. Well, the only time that you can really need it is when you have a problem to solve. If you're just on your comfort level and just cruising along in life, you're not really going to find any solutions. It's by being fully in there, okay? And really feeling the squeeze that sometimes we have an opportunity to go beyond ourselves, to expand. I'm still going to hold with meditation, though. Although it's really weird, because this card is like literally the question. Okay, so in the silence, that was what message is waiting for me in the silence. I hope you've really felt that. Next up is advice from Spirit. Finally. Finally. How can I work with this energy instead of against it? That's always a good question, right? How do I work with this instead of against it? Whoa, okay. Yeah. Against it is definitely isolation. Okay. Against it is thinking that we can, be in the cold alone. I'm going to tell you, I have a feeling incomplete here, especially with the Eight of Vessels. Like there's a piece missing, right? With this vase. That piece that's missing is feeling different than other people. Honestly, I feel that when you isolate yourself from the world and think you're the only one going through this, this is the piece that inevitably makes you feel like you're not whole. It stops you from doing a transformation. You go, why can I not just be like everybody else? Why can't I just get with the system, right? You don't need to. And you don't need to think you're alone. You're not. In this picture, in this image, is a clear indication that you're not alone. And that there's also a sanctuary available for you. Okay? People like myself who has gone through it. People who are going through these shifts right now or feeling the same. Please let me know in the comments if that's you. Okay, if you've come here and you feel like that person, please write it in the comments. Let other people who are at this reading feeling alone know that they're not. Okay? That yes, it feels like there's a missing piece. And the missing piece is the transformation card. Okay? You're not allowing for transformation to happen when you think that you need to go through this by yourself. Get yourself out of isolation. Share your message. This is how the world changes. When many, many people going, this isn't working anymore. We need to be authentically us. We can't all be eggs in the same basket. There's a multitude of baskets, and it's being discovered that everybody knows this now. Okay? If anything, you're less unlike other people than you think. You would be surprised, okay, how many people out there are looking to find their own brand of balance. So that's the advice. So how do you dismantle what's not working? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. How do you dismantle what's not working? Oh, this deck is so slippery. The Emperor in reverse. Yep, you gotta knock him flat on his butt. Okay, how do you dismantle what's not working? What needs to be let go, broken down, restructured for this energy to serve you better? Well, right here. The Emperor is a good card to have, okay? It brings in stability, structure, order, leadership, problem solving, and that's all well and fine. But at some point, the Emperor, who is sitting on this huge concrete piece of chair, builds a mountain in the background, builds a fortress, and is unbending, unmoving, and non-flexible. This card is usually represented as the father. I don't know about you, but I had a father who was very set in his ways. If you're lucky enough to not have had that, well, kudos to you, but I was not one of those. And to see this card in reverse, it needs to be dismantled. And what does that mean? It means that you need to open up your mind and your belief systems to new things. Because only when you start learning new things can you start teaching yourself new things, yourself and others, and start implementing new ways of being. And only when you expand in that way do you improve on your resources. That is the only way. You need to dismantle old belief systems that are keeping you grounded to the, not just grounded, but almost cemented to ideals that no longer work. Okay? It's as easy as that. This one was really easy. So how do you reinforce and strengthen this energy of wanting to change? This energy of you know, making that change. Let's see here. How can I rebuild it in a way that supports my highest good? How can I rebuild? How can you rebuild it in a way that supports the highest good of Pisces? Let's see here. Oh, it really wanted to. Okay, so the Five of Swords for me, I know a lot of people it represents conflict, but it represents also a very different way of seeing things. It represents, because this card, I always look at it as, he's a winner, but is he really? People are walking away and he's alone with the swords. Okay? He's smiling now, but later when he's alone with his goods, with his winnings, will it hit him that maybe there was a different solution to it? Will it hit them that maybe if they had come to an agreement, they could have a lot more than what they do? Okay? This is very dividing. Okay? So, yeah, do you break things or do you work at things? How do you reinforce this energy? Absolutely. You integrate it. You contemplate. You think innovatively. Okay? You end what doesn't work. Absolutely. But I look at all these broken swords, and does it really need to have all of these swords broken for something to work? You can definitely get rid of the things that are oppressing, okay? Because this card, that's what it means, like the end of something very stressful. Understood. But then you have to think innovatively. You have to rebuild. You have to bring the two sides together, the World card, the string that puts them together. You have to bring it back together. You have to bridge that divide somehow, some way. Because if not, you're living your truth and you're keeping everybody out, like the isolation card. You have to learn to integrate it so everybody can live and let live and still be their authentic self. Some people like the structure. Some people want to keep living in that structure, and that's okay. But it's okay for you to want to have your own sense of balance and your own structure, your own rules, your own thing, right? So you reinforce yourself, I think, without, I don't know, crossing the great divide and you know, just separating yourself. It would say separate yourself. Separate yourself from the toxic, absolutely. There's no need to stay with. There's no need to make concessions for that. This would imply that, for sure. But then integrate yourself back into a life that's meaningful for you, okay? So take it one way or both ways, it doesn't much matter. But there needs to be a connection. One, a connection to yourself. Respect yourself enough not to stay around toxicity, but also respect others and their beliefs. Okay? So, what actions will anchor this energy? And this is the good kind of anchor, not the Emperor kind of anchor, right? What's the most practical, tangible step to bring this energy from the spiritual to the physical? Okay. Woof. You know, just that light devil card come out, you know. Just a light devil card. Nothing big. Oh, and it says anchor, and there it is. There's the anchor. Work on those restrictions. Okay? Work on what keeps you stuck. Work on what chains you to your old belief system. Okay? And build a new anchor. One built out of perspective, the Hangman. Okay? When you're stuck in this thing trying to figure out in limbo, such as the Hangman, it's a great time to see clearly what you need to do. And one of the most important ones that keeps coming out is the heart. Okay? You have that locked inside of your heart, what you truly want in your life. And you have to keep that communication open. Okay? So, keep the communication open with the heart space. Next up, this is it. The final integration. How is this energy going to shape my growth? Okay? What's the big picture takeaway for this? And the growth card comes out. By the way, if you think that the cards are kind of like, you know, spiritually really linked to the questions and the answers, well, you're absolutely right. They are. They are. Okay? And don't worry, if you start doing this, you're going to start seeing these coincidences, which is a word I do not believe in, start happening for you. These alignments, I'll call them. That's much better. Oh, look at that. I love that. Okay, so what's the big picture takeaway? I'm going to say don't hate your past. Your past started the growth in the journey that you're on. Okay? But the important part is to be creative right now. This is it, right here. Okay? To be creative, and also to the defender. This is the Emperor coming out again, but in a very different way. The defender is defend your life. Don't... How can I put this? Let's start again. In the past, you have laid the groundwork, right? Even if it was somebody else's idea of it, you have started a garden. Okay? And it gave you a wonderful foundation. It did. Okay? The stuff that we learned from our parents, a lot of it was not caused, it was not done in harm. It was done to give us guidance. But now it's time for you to grow a new garden. To decide that, I don't like potatoes, I'd rather carrots. Right? They showed you how to garden. Now it's up to you to build the garden that you want. The past has given you a lot of direction, a lot of where to go and what to do. But it's up to you to defend that new future. Okay? I hope that you've really enjoyed this format. I think that this reading is going to give you a lot this week. It was a lot more intensive than I thought it was going to be. But it's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you've been going through a change recently. And as always, please make sure to hit the like button as soon as you can in every video. It really helps this channel. And also, leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. What are you going through? How can you share your insight and help other people feel that are going through similar changes as you? For myself, it's all about my channels right now, my spiritual practices. They're getting more intensive. I'm getting a lot more downloads. I feel that I'm needed a lot more than before. I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm also really slowing down so that I can help more people be more intentional with everything that I do. I hope that you enjoy this, and I think I've already said that. I'm repeating myself. So that's the end of this. Thank you so much. Stay tuned, because this week I'm going to be doing, I guess, plus on this reading, but with different divination tools. Like I said, it's not going to be tarot cards. It could be one oracle reading. I do all kinds of different readings during the month, and I use different divinations except for the weekly tarot read that I do every Sunday. I'm going to leave you a couple of channels here that are part of the Intuitive Energy banner that I've created, so that you can check those out. And there'll be a playlist here for other Pisces video in case you want to watch some more. I appreciate your support, and I love you all, my members. I will see you in the next reading. Bye for now.